Welcome to Mind Decoder, the ultimate channel, where we unlock the secrets of the mind, human behavior, and the hidden patterns that shape our reality. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects millions silently every day. If you've ever felt confused, doubted your own memory, or questioned your sanity around someone you trust, you might be experiencing gaslighting without even realizing it. Gaslighting is a manipulative tactic where someone twists the truth, denies facts, and slowly erodes your confidence, leaving you dependent and uncertain. It's subtle, dangerous, and often invisible until it has already affected your mind deeply. But don't worry, knowledge is your superpower. In this video, we will break down the science behind gaslighting, reveal the key signs to watch out for, and teach you how to recognize manipulative behaviors before they take control. Stay with us as Mind Decoder guides you through every red flag and psychological trick that gaslighters use, empowering you to protect your mind and regain clarity over your own reality. One of the first tactics gaslighters use is denial. They will refuse to acknowledge events, conversations, or promises that clearly happened. Even if you have evidence, they insist you're mistaken, exaggerating, or imagining things. This constant distortion of reality gradually undermines your confidence. Psychologically, this works because our brains naturally seek social validation to confirm our perceptions. When someone we trust repeatedly challenges our reality, our mind begins to doubt itself. Gaslighters often mix denial with selective truth, exaggerating or minimizing details to confuse you further. Over time, this makes you question your memory and judgment, increasing dependence on the manipulator for guidance. The more this continues, the harder it becomes to separate facts from manipulation. Recognizing these patterns is critical. By noticing repeated denial or distortion early, you create space to validate your own experiences independently. Documenting events, trusting your instincts, and seeking objective perspectives are essential tools to prevent the gaslighter from controlling your reality. Awareness is the first step toward mental freedom. Gaslighters also employ trivialization, subtly invalidating your emotions. When you express hurt or frustration, they might respond with phrases like, "You're overreacting," or "That's not a big deal." While these words may appear harmless to outsiders, their repeated use has a profound effect. Constant trivialization diminishes your emotional confidence, making you question whether your feelings are legitimate. Neuroscience shows that emotional validation strengthens neural pathways linked to while consistent invalidation weakens these pathways. Victims begin apologizing for feelings that are normal and rational, leaving them emotionally dependent on the gaslighter's approval. Trivialization often works in combination with denial and distortion, amplifying confusion. Recognizing this tactic involves paying attention to patterns, not isolated incidents. Ask yourself, are my feelings consistently dismissed or belittled? Maintaining awareness allows you to separate valid emotions from manipulation. By consciously validating your own experience and setting boundaries, you reclaim emotional autonomy. Understanding that your feelings matter, even when a manipulator denies them, is a crucial step in regaining control of your mental and emotional well-being. Projection is another classic gaslighting tactic. In this scenario, the manipulator accuses you of behaviors or thoughts they are actually doing themselves. For example, someone who lies frequently might accuse you of dishonesty. This tactic serves multiple purposes. It diverts attention from the manipulator, forces you to defend yourself constantly, and creates self-doubt. Psychologically, projection exploits our brain's natural inclination to internalize blame during conflict. Over time, victims begin questioning their own actions and motives. While the gaslighter maintains control, projection is effective because it taps into existing insecurities and creates a feedback loop of guilt and confusion. Awareness is key. When accusations consistently feel off or exaggerated, they may reflect the manipulator's behavior rather than your own. Keeping a record of events, discussing with trusted friends, and grounding yourself in facts can break the cycle. Recognizing projection empowers you to identify false accusations and reduces the manipulator's psychological hold. Understanding that this is a deliberate tactic, rather than a reflection of your character, strengthens your ability to resist manipulation and regain clarity in your interactions. Isolation is a powerful tool gaslighters use to strengthen control. By limiting your interactions with friends, family, or supportive networks, they increase dependence on themselves. This can be subtle, like questioning the loyalty of loved ones, criticizing your support system, or discouraging socializing. Over time, isolation amplifies the effect of other tactics, such as denial and projection, because the victim has fewer alternative perspectives to validate reality. Social psychology shows that humans are heavily influenced by social proof. Limiting outside input makes it harder to trust personal judgment. Victims may gradually withdraw, either willingly or under subtle pressure, leaving the manipulator's narrative unchallenged. Recognizing isolation tactics is essential to maintaining mental health. Reconnecting with trusted friends, family, or communities, gaslighters frequently use emotional hijacking to dominate control. By eliciting intense feelings like fear, guilt, or shame, they impair your ability to think logically. Neuroscience research shows that strong emotional arousal can temporarily inhibit the prefrontal cortex, which governs rational thinking, planning, and judgment. Manipulators exploit this by provoking reactions that leave you off balance and more compliant. Emotional hijacking can be subtle, such as a passive-aggressive remark, or overt, like a loud confrontation intended to intimidate. Either way, the goal is the same: destabilize your mental state and create dependency. Victims often feel trapped, anxious, or unsure of their perceptions. Recognizing emotional hijacking allows you to pause, ground yourself, and respond rationally rather than react impulsively. Building emotional awareness, mindfulness, and coping strategies strengthens resilience. By understanding how your brain responds to intense emotion, you can prevent manipulators from exploiting these reactions. Reclaiming control over emotional responses is a critical step in defending against gaslighting and regaining authority over your mind. Even discreetly provides perspective, reassurance, and emotional support. Awareness and intentional action against isolation can break the manipulator's influence, reinforcing your ability to perceive reality accurately. Social connections act as a protective buffer, preserving emotional resilience and reinforcing confidence in your own perceptions, which is critical in resisting gaslighting's insidious effects. Gaslighting rarely occurs as a single incident. It follows a pattern of repeated behavior, designed to destabilize the victim gradually. Small inconsistencies, denials, or manipulations may be dismissed initially, but over time, they accumulate into significant psychological influence. Victims often fail to recognize the pattern, because each incident alone seems trivial or ambiguous. However, repeated exposure can alter cognitive processing, making memory, judgment, and self-trust increasingly unreliable. This incremental erosion of confidence ensures dependence on the manipulator for interpretation of reality. Over months or years, victims may develop anxiety, emotional exhaustion, or even depression. Awareness of these patterns is vital. Recognizing that behaviors repeat and form a strategy helps break the cycle. Tools such as journaling incidents, reviewing patterns, and seeking objective input allow victims to regain perspective. Understanding that these tactics are deliberate, rather than coincidental or personal flaws, strengthens the ability to respond rather than internalize manipulation. Early recognition is crucial for protecting mental health and regaining control. Spotting red flags is crucial to preventing long-term psychological harm from gaslighting. Common indicators include persistent denial of facts, frequent trivialization of feelings, projection, and isolation tactics. Another critical sign is repeatedly apologizing for things that aren't your fault, reflecting internalized manipulation. Gaslighting can occur in personal, professional, or digital contexts, requiring vigilance across all interactions. Red flags are often subtle and accumulate over time, making awareness and observation essential. Documenting incidents, confiding in trusted friends, and maintaining external perspectives allow victims to validate their experiences and counter distortions. Recognizing patterns rather than isolated events is key to distinguishing manipulation from misunderstandings. Awareness of red flags empowers victims to set boundaries, assert autonomy, and resist psychological control. By educating yourself about these tactics, you reduce susceptibility to manipulation and protect your emotional well-being. Knowledge becomes a shield, helping you reclaim control over perception and reduce the manipulator's influence. Awareness, documentation, and external support form the cornerstone of self-protection against gaslighting. Recovering from gaslighting requires actively rebuilding trust in your own perceptions. Start by validating your feelings and experiences, instead of internalizing the manipulators, distortions. Journaling, therapy, and discussions with trusted friends or family provide external confirmation and reinforce memory accuracy. Cognitive behavioral techniques, like challenging distorted thoughts and focusing on evidence, strengthen self-trust. Neuroscience shows that consistent positive reinforcement of self-validation rebuilds neural pathways weakened by manipulation. Setting firm boundaries with manipulators is equally important, as it limits their access and influence over your decisions and emotions. Reclaiming personal space, emotional autonomy, and control over choices reduces dependency on the gaslighter. Recovery is gradual, requiring patience, self-compassion, and intentional reinforcement of trust in your own judgment. Celebrating small victories, trusting intuition. Asserting boundaries, recognizing manipulation builds resilience. By rebuilding confidence, victims regain control of their reality, reclaim authority over thoughts and feelings, and emerge stronger, more and prepared to resist future psychological manipulation. Gaslighting is subtle, pervasive, and psychologically damaging, but it is not unbeatable. Awareness is your first and most powerful defense. By identifying tactics such as denial, trivialization, projection, isolation, and emotional hijacking, you regain clarity and control over your reality. Gaslighting works because it exploits natural brain tendencies, designed for social trust and conflict avoidance, but knowledge allows you to respond rather than react. Seeking support from trusted individuals, documenting incidents, and asserting boundaries strengthens resistance to manipulation. Recovery involves patience, self-compassion, and reinforcement of self-trust. Remember, your mind is your most powerful tool, and recognizing gaslighting is the first step toward reclaiming it. Educate yourself, empower others by sharing knowledge, and remain vigilant. Don't ignore the signs. Protecting your perception of reality is essential for mental, emotional, and psychological well-being. Stay aware, trust yourself, and let Mind Decoder guide you through the secrets of the mind to live free from manipulation.